the Intratec Protec-25. Let's check it out. Today we're going to look at the Intratec Protec-25. These were made back in the late 80s up to 2001. Intratec was really known for its Tec 9, 9mm polymer frame pistol, and these were notorious for gang members. A lot of them were converted to full automatic, and the Intratec company produced a number of different firearms, but that's really what they were known for. Also the Tec 22, which was a little small 22 pistol very similar to the AP9. But they also produced a couple of Derringers and some other pistols, but what we're going to look at today is the Intratec Protec-25. This was also made in 22 long rifle. It's a double action pistol design that is based on the CZ 1945 design. First thing we'll do is make sure the gun isn't loaded, remove the magazine, check the chamber, and it's empty. Slides made from steel, some serrations right here. Of course, one of the main things is the Intratec grip that's right here. It is a wraparound grip. Even though it has a seam, it doesn't come apart when you take it off, held by 2 screws on either side. The frame itself is an aluminum frame. Now, this is a double action pistol, which is a little bit different than a lot of your little mouse guns. It does have a recessed hammer, and you'll notice when I pull the trigger that it actuates the hammer. And the trigger pull is double action, so it's not too bad. Did come in a couple of different finishes. This dark finish, also with a satin nickel, and then with a tough coat type finish with the grips, different type grips. You know, these were not hugely popular. I mean, there weren't a whole lot of these because they weren't made that long. There's not a whole lot of information about the Protec. It's just one of those kind of obscure pistols. I remember when these were selling, and just kind of a neat little pistol. But one of the things about this size pistol, especially in 25 caliber, is it's really gone the way of the dinosaur, because this is not really any smaller than your Ruger LCP. Here's the LCP, here's the Protec. You can see that there is very little difference in these two pistols, except a huge difference in caliber. And that's one of the reasons why these little pistols here are just no longer used. They're no longer a viable self-defense option, because really what it had going for it was the very small size, which was much smaller than most even of your 380s at the time. But once they really started getting these micro 380s and 32s, the 25 really, because it's such an anemic caliber, went away. Now, of course, these still are available in very few calibers, which Beretta has still made one of their very popular Model 21s, which is still a great little pistol. But really, 25 ACP, and we've done a number of different mouse gun reviews, obviously here, and a lot of different type, sizes, and everything else. And really, the only reason I can see to even carry a 25 ACP is if you need something super small, and even then, you know, really with the Ruger LCP, this is a much better option. It does hold 8 rounds in the magazine. These are, I believe, interchangeable with the CZ45 magazines, which are fairly expensive if you can find them. I was on Gun Broker and found a few of them, and they were around the $100 mark. It has a really decent feel to it. I mean, it's got a nice little ergonomic feel. It's not too tiny, and of course with 25 ACP, the recoil is very mild. Now, the sights on these pistols are pretty much non-existent. There is a trough that goes right down the center of the slide. Just has a small notch, and that goes all the way down. The big problem with that is there's no front sight. So when you're aiming it, it's very easy to move that slide down and not know where your sight is going. Because of that, this is really relegated to up-close shots. And here I have some accuracy of about 7 yards, and honestly, it was shooting all over the place. The blued model has definitely seen a lot of use, a lot of wear on the gun, but the satin nickel finish is really smooth and well done. I mean, it's a very nice looking pistol, and the finish is slick, so it really helps with a little bit of lubricity with the satin. I think if you're going to pick up one, I would go with the satin color. You can see where the recessed hammer, everything is just slim and trim, no snag whatsoever. There are no external safeties, but because it is a double action only pistol, you don't really need a safety. It's a pretty long, smooth trigger pull, but it's definitely heavy. I would say it's probably around the 10-pound plus range. Really easy to bring that slide back, and of course with 25 ACP, you're not getting a lot of power going down range, so it's going to have a very slick slide. Right here you see the extractor, and of course this pulls the round out. This pin actually holds your firing pin into place. It does have one of the heel style magazine releases, which is typically European, but the magazine slides in and out really nice, very positive. Now, while the firing pins are somewhat difficult to find, the other parts for this pistol seem to be pretty abundant, and I found a lot of places where they had them. Whether it was eBay, Gunbroker, or different sites, and there's a lot of companies that do a lot of different parts. But the firing pin is definitely something that is hard to come by. Now, to disassemble the pistol, of course, remove your magazine, double check the chamber, pull back, and then you take the barrel and you got to find the little groove. It doesn't come out a whole lot. Turn it just like so, and then release the slide. Pull it back, and then you can pull your barrel. A lot of the old 25 designs were made that way with a locking barrel. Here you can see the small grooves, and these coincide not with grooves in the barrel, but these grooves in the frame. Have your recoil spring and guide rod. Your firing pin is captured inside here, inside the slide. This is based on the CZ model from 1945, and if you see them, they're really close design. But very simple, very easy to put together. To reassemble, just take your guide rod and your recoil spring, take the barrel, place it in the slide. You want these two lugs to be pointing outward, so when you push it back, turn it like so, and then release. It's going to take a little bit of finagling, it did for me, just to get that right, but it's really simple. There's just a little track, and it fits inside the frame, those lugs on your barrel, and you're ready to go. Now, Intratec actually was originally from Sweden. In fact, George Kellgren was the founder not only of Intratec, but also from Kel-Tec and Grendel. So George Kellgren has a lot of influence on the gun community. He was based down in Miami, Florida, and they went from the 70s up until about 2001. They were based on the CZ-45. Very similar pistols, and then CZ started making the CZ-92, which has a few differences, and those are still actually being produced in the Czech Republic, but they can't be imported into the U.S. because of the National Firearms Act of 1968. They don't meet the size requirements. In fact, you'll very rarely see any CZ-92s in the U.S. One of the big problems, though, with not only the Intratec, but also with the CZ-45s is the firing pin. In fact, there's recommended do not dry fire these pistols. One of the problems I had was a broken firing pin, and it actually fits like so. When I was shooting, I started having some problems. I thought I was having primer strike problems, but actually the firing pin itself was breaking and in the blue pistol. So this is definitely a problem. They are fairly hard to come by because they break. Somebody told me that the CZ-45 firing pin would work. I ordered one and I haven't gotten it to work. It's a little bit different configuration. With the satin model, I had no problems at all with function, reliability. I mean, they just fed very well. I think it's a really cool pistol. In fact, I had bought this pistol before to do the review, and then when the firing pin broke, I went ahead and got on Gunbroker and got another one. Because, you know, especially considering how hard it was to find the firing pin. Sooner or later I'll find one, but I just wanted to really show this because honestly, guys, back in the late 90s, I used to see these coming into gun shops, and I always just kind of liked the way it looked. Of course, that was before the advent of the Micro 380. And again, guys, this is not a real good self-defense option. When you have the 380 that with the pistols they're making now that are just the same size, you're really limiting yourself. The only reason that I would consider this as a self-defense option is if this was given to you and it was the only pistol you had, or you really got a super good price on one. But 25 ACP, you need to know the limitations, and there are plenty. They are better than nothing. They definitely have been used in self-defense for a number of years. But 380 really is a much better option. Now, as you can see, the box is definitely from the 90s, very mod looking. One of the things I really thought was kind of funny is that it says genuinely American when this was definitely based directly on the CZ45. In 2001, Intratec closed its doors, and that's the last that we've seen from Intratec. You can still find the Tech 9s and the Tech 22s considerably on different used gun sites, but the price is pretty premium. I personally owned a Tech 9 and a Tech 22 back during the 90s, and really they were fine functioning little pistols. With all the abuse that happens though with a lot of them, there's no telling now. But still a really cool part of history. And, you know, the Protec has a really modern, really sleek look to it. I really like it. It goes really well with the mouse gun collection. But, you know, it is what it is. These are 25 ACP, and again, not adequate for self-defense. 25 ACP can be a lot of fun at the range. Sometimes the ammunition can be a little more expensive and a little more difficult to find, but nonetheless, a lot of fun. Can be used in self-defense, and great for your collection. Now, the big thing you need to be careful of, again, is the brittle firing pin. Do not dry fire these. If you do, you're going to have a hard time finding a firing pin. Other than that, the gun functioned very well, and for a mouse gun, I'm going to have to give it a big thumbs way up. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Then we have the Hornady. Then we have the Hornady. Then we have the Hornady X. Sometimes this ammunition can be fairly. But guys, again, if this is all you have, if your dad gave it to you, your grandpa,